Do you guys hear that purr? Oh, sorry. We're talking about the national championship, guys. Clemson Tigers, Alabama.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you did. Again, Charles Jernigan, Sports Allegiance podcast, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have Aaron McFessel, Alex Muncy, Stephen Guerin. Guys, let's get some takeaways, some stats, whatever you guys want to do. Just recap the national championship game for us.
My God.
Oh, gosh.
Alex, if you guys watched our last videos, you'll see that Alex is so high on coaching right now. I have never been more high on a defensive coordinator than I am right now in what the Clemson Tigers did to Alabama. It was absolutely absurd. The way that I don't know if you guys watched this game start to finish like I did. I've never seen a defense disguise their blitz and disguise their coverage more so than what Clemson did. Every SEC head coach needs to buy this man dinner in the offseason and figure out what the hell he did to stop this Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll get to what the offense did in just a few moments, but let's talk about how the Tigers flat out outcoached Alabama, period.
Well,
Charles, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think coaching, as you said, Aaron, it's a huge thing, and it also has to deal with your preparation. Preparation has to deal with your penalties that react in the game. You read numbers; it's 1 for 12 from Clemson, so 1 penalty, 12 yards, and then I think it's something like 6 for 60 on Alabama. You know, you're giving up more than half a field. So that just shows the coaching preparation. I think Nick Saban maybe was going through the motions. You know, not that he wasn't pumped up and not that he's the best college football coach that we've ever seen. But I do think that you press the button on cruise control. I talked about it with the Warriors. I think that happened with Nick Saban maybe in the preparation and kind of causes guys to not be prepared.
Absolutely.
That's what happens.
I mean, even when he was getting upset, like Clemson scores, you see his face, and he's like, no, I guess this is not our year. Like, you should be upset, you know? Fire up your team. And he did nothing.
This is a coach that broke a headset when he was up 21 points last game. So, yes.
Right. I mean, he did nothing to fire up his team. It was Clemson destroyed him. Let's just be real.
Well, I mean, I think when it comes down to it, coaching is probably the most overrated aspect in college football.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to it, talent, recruiting, all of that stuff far outweighs coaching in college football. Clemson is the more talented team. You could just see it. Alabama doesn't have the top defense that they have had in the past when it comes to their national championships. That's what they've always been built around at Alabama, right? Defense, defense, defense. They got 40 plus points dropped on them, and Clemson made it look easy. And I just think that comes down to the talent that Clemson has on the offensive side of the ball. And just, I mean, I don't know how much of it is scheme or anything like that in college football. I mean, I think the playoff was a joke this year anyway. I mean, the 4 teams that they had were absolutely trash. I mean, Notre Dame didn't belong there. Oklahoma didn't belong there. I mean, Alabama, I think, was overrated anyway, right? They struggled with a Georgia team that got absolutely annihilated by Texas, right?
They were once down to Citadel.
Yeah, so, like, I just think all around, I think Clemson, they were better. They had a more talented team, and that's what happens in college football. When you have more talent, you win championships, flat out.
It's, one thing that was talked about a lot is another Alabama-Clemson game is a black eye in the world of sports and national championship. And people are getting so sour over this dominance. And my thought is appreciate this dominance and the level at which they are dominating, because Alabama, they deserve to be there last night. Clemson certainly deserved to be there, and they continue to deserve to be there. Just appreciate this dominance, because no other team can sniff what they're doing right now. In particular, Clemson, for a lot of reasons. But, I mean, in this game, look at what Clemson's defense was able to do to Alabama, in the sense that they forced 2 turnovers, one of which went back to the house for 6 early. And these weren't bad throws necessarily by Tua. they just beat Tua flat out. They beat him. They were better on that play. They were better in this game, period, and they knew it. Alabama going 3 for 6 on 4th down. It's a good thing for Nick Saban's sake that this game got a little out of control, because that fake field goal would have taken a lot more heat had the score been closer. But that's my thought. What were your guys' thoughts on these two young gunslingers in the backfield? Alex, what do you think? Anything?
They're exciting. I think college has a lot to look forward to, especially in these young players. Obviously, they're all young, but last night was just exciting for Clemson.
Yeah.
I was just in awe watching that whole team overall. Like, I would argue that they would be a lot of current NFL roster teams the way they played last night.
Stop
That's
it.
a sad argument.
You're off.
Stop.
You're off the show. That's
Stop
the most
that.
ridiculous freaking statement
That
ever.
that Clemson
Stop
team,
that.
that Clemson team would get waxed by the 0-16 Cleveland Browns. Period. But it's a whole other class. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
That's
But
the worst argument in sports.
Let's
I
talk
don't
about.
I don't even know how to come back from that.
Let's just let it lie. Let's move right past that. Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence, and I'm super high on this kid right now. I mean,
I know you are.
He's 19 years old. He's a true freshman. He threw for 347 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did not make a single mistake last night on the biggest stage in college football. I mean, this kid, he's got 2 more years in college before he's even NFL eligible. I mean, this kid, the sky's the limit for this kid, and it's exciting because he has a coach and a mentor like Dabo Swinney. He, in my opinion, is going to overtake Nick Saban as the best coach in college sports because of the culture that he's developing in Clemson. Look at Alabama's coaching turnover in Nick Saban's tenure. He's had over 20 coaches in and out of that system. Dabo's only had 3 coaches in and out of the system. But look at Clemson's receiver, Ross, who was an absolute man last night. 6 receptions, 153 yards and a touchdown, 2 one-handed catches down the sideline. He's a hometown Alabama kid who chose Clemson because of the coaching staff over Alabama. He wanted that security. He wanted that culture that will nurture him into a future NFL star. And that's exactly what Trevor Lawrence is going to get. Obviously, their running back, Etienne, had the hat trick, 3 touchdowns last night. It was just huge overall. This national championship exceeded every single one of my expectations because I was going into it a little sour, just like everybody else, and came out with it with a new appreciation for what was done.
I don't know where to start. I think, like I said earlier, recruiting, players, talent, everything like that, Clemson excels, of course. Dabo Swinney is a great recruiter. He's he can collect talent. He can pull it out of the best. He can pull the best out of a lot of his players, right? But I mean, there are other coaches, there's other programs in this country that can recruit at the same level as Clemson. And I think they're a lot more stable. Like, you want to talk about stability? Dabo Swinney will be in the NFL in the next 3 years. Nick Saban's not going to the NFL. And I think that's where Clemson's going to lose it. I think Swinney, he wants more. He's that type of guy. I don't think Clemson's the end of the road for him. I think he's going to build up what he can at Clemson, and I think he goes to the NFL because I think he wants to take that on as well. So, I mean, you want to talk about stability, I think Alabama is actually going to be more stable when it comes to that. And yeah, I mean, right now Clemson's riding a hot streak, but like you see this in college football all the time where they're just programs that have really good recruiting classes for a couple of years, and then they have 3-4 years of dominance, and then they go back to normal, right? I think that's where Clemson is at right now. I just don't think they're going to be able to sustain this for a decade, we'll say.
Yeah, I think Clemson's the modern day Auburn as a past recently. It's not gonna. They're not Alabama, and you say Dabo Sweeney taking over for Nick Saban. That's insane to me, man. That's like saying any NFL coach is gonna just take over for Bill Belichick. After they win 1 or 2 championships, it's not gonna happen. I don't believe so. But let's get to the game itself. I think you look at these stats and they're actually pretty close. Total yards, you got 42 for Clemson, 443 for Bama. So both moved the ball fairly efficiently, despite, as Aaron noted, great hidden blitzes. I'm all about defense, and those were great hidden blitzes. But one thing I did want to touch on is the third down efficiency. Clemson was 10 for 15. Bama was 4 for 13. Being a fan of an NFL team who runs the ball a lot, third down is where you make your money. And if you can't do that, then you see the result. That's all I have to say on that.
It shows a lot in a young quarterback. We keep on going back to this young quarterback, but I say that because he's a true freshman.
You do.
Like, look at the last touchdown pass he threw from the 7-yard line with pressure in his face, and he threw it over 3 defenders, right only where his receiver could catch it to ice the game. I don't think there's another quarterback in college football that makes that throw last night like that.
So do you not think any of these college quarterbacks are going to go to the NFL other than Trevor Lawrence? Because
that's what I'm saying. Tua, my hot take, Tua is not going to be successful in the NFL.
Okay.
In my honest opinion.
That's fine.
He's just not built that way. Steve just got done talking about it in the AFC video that we did. Go check it out, guys. Pocket passing, traditional quarterbacks win in this league.
Yeah.
How much more prototypical do you need than 6'6", 225 and mobile enough to extend plays, but his first instinct is to stick in the pocket, pressure in his grill, and fire deep down the field accurately.
Someone with prototypical height, weight, athletic ability that was even actually a little bit taller than this young man, Trevor Lawrence, and played decent in college. What was his name?
Paxton Lynch.
He played for Memphis. Thank you. And he could complete a 7-yard pass, believe it or not, probably, he'll go 1 and 25, and that 1 and 25 might be a 7-yard in his face touchdown to seal a game.
College.
Don't herald this guy as a great college quarterback just yet. Like you said, he has 2 more years. Let's see what he has, man.
That's what I'm saying. He could come out next year and bust.
And suck. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. There's no one saying that he can't. But Paxton Lynch, first of all, didn't come in as a true freshman and play the talent that Trevor Lawrence did.
Not at all.
He was a senior at Memphis.
What I'm simply saying, though, is
some low-class programs.
Is it a 7-yard in-your-face touchdown is not what I'm looking. If I'm a GM,
how about a 60-yard pass on 3rd and 15 to set your team up? A seam pass down the field, which he did last night.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not just saying a 7-yard touchdown pass that only he could have thrown that sealed the game.
Did just say that.
It was.
Yeah, you literally said that was his best throw.
You said it. It was hands down his best throw of the game. Like
60-yard completion.
If he held on to the ball half a fraction longer, he would have been sacked. And what quarterback's first instinct is not to scramble? Lamar Jackson would have scrambled. Lamar Jackson probably would have scored on a scramble. But that's not his first instinct. It's impressive. It's
Eli Manning wouldn't have.
He had a good game.
Drew Brees wouldn't have.
Eli Manning would have gotten sacked. But Eli Manning is a champion. Drew Brees is a champion.
Let's stop comparing this kid to these people.
He's
he's not even close.
And I'm not trying to compare. Don't let anybody compare him
to Russell Wilson,
like him to be Peyton Manning or a Drew Brees or a Phillip Rivers or any. Let him be Trevor Lawrence. But I'm excited to watch this kid grow over the next 2 years, because if this is any taste of what he can be in college, Clemson will not be stopped for the next 2 years.
They're in for a ride, and I'm with that. But also, you got to remember that this is only going to light up Nick Saban's will to win and beat them. So I mean that's something to look for.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a far superior team with way more offensive weapons, with a down Alabama defense, and yeah, he had a good game. But let's see what he does next year. Let's see what he does after that. And then if he does make it to the NFL, he's going to get drafted to a pretty crappy team with probably not a lot of weapons. And then can he succeed in the NFL with far superior, like inferior athletes, maybe not necessarily on his team? Like that's the benefit of any great college quarterback, right? Is they usually have superior athletes around them, right? They have great offensive lines, they have great running backs, they have great wide receivers, right? And then they go to the NFL and they struggle because they don't have that talent, like they don't have that better talent surrounding them all the time like they did in college. He's going to have the benefit of that. He's going to throw up great numbers. He's going to have great games, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I think the kid, I think he's great in a college aspect, but we got 2 years to wait until to see how he looks in the NFL.
That kind of attitude right there is the exact attitude that you were getting, that you were hearing about Baker Mayfield.
No.
Yeah, he had a lot of talent around him. He had a great coach in Oklahoma. He's playing college teams, and he's winning. Let's see what he's going to do in the NFL. That's a bad pick at number one. I heard it. I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan. Everybody knows it. But that's the same criticism that Baker Mayfield was getting in college. Like, and a lot of it was character issues for Baker Mayfield. But in addition to that, can his game translate to the NFL? It's the exact argument you made against Trevor Lawrence. That was the exact argument they were making against Baker Mayfield.
Steve, I can't hear you. Is it just me?
Nope, I can't hear him either.
Okay.
Well, guys, I guess that's a good stopping point.
Yep. Yep.
I'm done. Like,
oh, we heard that.
Oh, okay, we hear you now.
Comparing Lawrence to Baker Mayfield is that's unrealistic. That's a joke.
It took Baker Mayfield 5 years to win a Heisman. It took Trevor Lawrence 7 games to win a national championship.
Yeah, you put Baker Mayfield on that Clemson team, they win by 60.
Okay.
We got a debate for another day, guys.
Absolutely.
You guys, please like, follow, comment, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching. And, any final thoughts from you guys?
Not for me. I don't want to start anything.
I think this was the end of Alabama's reign on college football.
Yes, totally. Aaron thinks that Alabama's going to go 0-10.
Bold statement.
Yeah. All right, guys. For Stephen Guerin, Aaron McFessel, and Alex Muncy, I'm Charles Jernigan signing off from Sports Leadnesses Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.